Good morning, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, hot rodders of all ages. We're back on a T-bucket build. Once again, I'm sponsored by nobody in any way, shape, or form. When we did leave off the last video, we mounted the steering column bracket. Showed you what we did there. You know, pretty straightforward on that. Only run into one little issue, and that issue is, here is the nut and bolt that goes through the firewall. Now, the only issue we have is that's a nice stainless washer they send, stainless bolt. So, you know, as you can see, you will see it once it's in place. But look at here, the washer does not fit the hole. So I could grind the, you know, make that a little smaller, but then, yeah, it's just something I don't like to do. So for the time being, I just got a smaller 3/8 washer put in that hole to protect the fiberglass when a bolt is drawn up against it. So I'll just probably search around the hardware stores and find a couple smaller outside diameters on that. So as you can see, this is where the mounts for the steering box, you know, nice and tight. It's gonna look pretty nice. I like the way it's all snugged up and tight against there. Kind of gives it that race car feel where everything's got to have a place and it just fits just so. So with that being said, this is a steering box that comes with the kit. It mounts just like this on top of the frame. It's got 3 3/8 bolt holes on the bottom. You know, got your steering drag link. U-joints come with it. Let's just go ahead and slide that U-joint on right now since we're here. You know, that way, once it's in, we can go ahead and hook the steering column up on the inside. So let me get my camera adjusted. This should be a simple build or install. And that's the way we like it. As you see, we'll get a rubber boot that goes on there, and it'll hide that, and that'll blend it in really nice. So let's throw a couple bolts in, and we'll go from there. I got to get down on the ground. Get it lined up here. Oop. Okay. Well, let me show you this problem we have. Let me take this out. Like I said, when you think everything's gonna go good, you run into a little problem. Okay. As you can see, our clearance right here, we're hitting the block with our mounting bolt. And also, we're hitting the block with our screw that sets the slack and sets the gear lash in the gearbox. So it appears I'm about a half a bolt hole off when I'm mounting there. So let's take this back out. It looks like we're about a half a bolt hole off. Let's go ahead and take this off. Make sure there's nothing in there. We'll get that. If we can get the first hole lined up, we should be. We might see if we could go from there. Everything might work. Maybe I just had too many moving parts. So we got the first hole in, or the first bolt in. And that's what I thought. So as you can see, figure out how to hold the phone so I can, as you can see, we're hitting here and down here. So there is an issue there. Let's go ahead and pop that out and see what we can do about that. Like I said, it's part of building a hot rod. So it looks like we're hitting on the boss of this block here. And I believe that is where, let me do some thinking here real quick. That should be where your clutch, the workings for your clutch go through there. That should go all the way through into the rear housing, by where the torque converter is. Let's just take a piece of wire. Yeah, that's where the mechanisms for the clutch, just some parts for the clutch. We're not going to use that, so probably what we'll wind up doing is we'll trim this back a little, smooth that out some, and hopefully in the next video I'll show you what we did, and we'll go from there. So, okay, here we are, ready to do a little grinding on that engine block, get the steering box to fit. One thing you want to do is cover that brand new engine up with you know, some fire cloth. This is an old welding jacket I picked up, you know, for next to nothing. It's I think it's a 6 or 7 XL on it, and I use this welding jacket for only this stuff. Got it at a discount, which you know, in case you didn't know, a welding jacket is leather. The #1 use of leather, does anybody know that? Yeah, you're right, holding a cow together. So anyway, now that the bad jokes are out of the way, I'll be using a little deburring tool and a little roll lock to blend it all out. So let's get busy and we'll do that. Remember, always wear your face shield. You don't want to go to the doctor again with a piece of steel in your eye. Here we are, folks. We got our grinding done, making the clearances. It didn't take a whole lot to clearance this right here. Just basically we took that sharp point off, kind of rounded it off. We'll blend it in just a little bit more, probably down here. That way it flows a lot nicer. You know, we took about a 1/4 inch out of here to get the clearance that we needed. And then once these two spots were clear, we realized it was hitting right here on the block. So the other bolt was. So we took about a 3/16 out of that. You know, it's not going to affect the integrity of the block or anything. I've seen guys, you know, take a whole lot more out of this just to lose a few pounds in weight and stuff. So as you can see, it doesn't look bad. I have tried the box up on there and did have it bolted in. It does bolt in with clearance. And you can see, you know, we thought it was originally these two bolts, but after they cleared, like I said, this one was hitting. So that's why we had to clear on this side of the block. So I will go ahead and get that installed with the U-joint on it. We'll probably slide the steering column on. We might not. We might wait to make a video of that and talk about a little bit of that. So, you know, this is just one of the steps that I like to show that you would have a problem with on this kit. It's not a big deal. It's just you know, a little bit of extra time, but you wanna plan. That's why mock-up is very important. I've seen guys paint everything for the vehicle, whether it's a motorcycle, a pickup truck, tractors, airplanes, and they go to put it together and they wind up with stuff like this. So, you know, this is no big deal. That's a little high temp engine paint, but can you imagine if everything was all painted and nice and smooth? I'd have to have a painter come back in and do the painting on that. So it's just one thing that I like to put out or point out on this little video series, is why I'm putting it out there. So if you know, if you like what you see, go ahead and hit that like button. Tell your hot rod friends about it. Tell the co-workers at the water cooler about it. You know, maybe they'll get a kick out of some of the jokes and be able to use them at some time in their life. Other than that, you know, hit the like button if you like it. If you don't like it, just keep on keeping on. So we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.